Why that's a thing, I don't know. Apparently our printer is not working. And if they can't do that, they're gonna struggle. So I don't really have to do anything today. I can't make it any easier. Good morning, happy Monday. It's a new week. Last week was a very short week. We were out of school Monday through Wednesday for the ice and snow. So this week, we have a little bit of catching up to do. Plan for this week. Today is going to be a review day. Tomorrow we're taking a test. Wednesday, I don't even know what's happening. But basically, it's not a normal day because half the school is testing. So the freshmen are going to be doing some rotation thing. I don't know. I am really praying that they give us information today. Then Thursday, Friday, we're starting our next unit. Yeah. You already know the drill. Count the words. How many times can you find the word champ vertically, horizontally, or diagonally in the grid below? I really hope there's a diagonal one this time. Okay, so here's what I think is happening. I'm thinking that they're getting more and more difficult as you move on, because the first time that I had this prompt, like this question style problem game, it was only like 3 or 4 times. And now we have it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Still no diagonally, but it does like spell it backwards, which it didn't do the last time. So let's see. 6 times. Yay. Oh, that wasn't even today's brain game. That was yesterday's brain game. Let's do today's. Operations. A math one. Determine the value of each shape to solve the final operation. That was fun. So that's what I came up with. Let's see. If I got that one wrong, that would have been embarrassing. Okay, so I might have made a small error. Turns out, some things are different between middle and high school. But we were doing our elevation monitoring, which is for not our non-English speakers, but just like anyone who's not native English speakers. Basically, in middle school, if they're on the list, you just give them content language supports, no matter what, because it doesn't hurt them. They can use it. If they don't need it, they just won't use it, which is basically like where certain words on tests, like in questions, will have a box around them and you can click on it and it'll give like a definition or an example or a picture or something. Turns out, if you give it to them and they don't need it, if they are trying to exit the program, like the language program, it is going to be more difficult. So, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Okay? It's fine. Apparently our printer is not working. As in, it's just not, because we have to scan our badge so that it knows like who we are so we can print the stuff that we sent. It's not scanning anyone's badges. So, I mean, the good news is I don't like need to print anything. The only thing that I would like to print is my rosters, because I do keep track of attendance and behaviors on a roster, like a paper roster. So from last week, we were only here on Thursday, Friday, so I could technically use Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. I don't want to do that, but in a pinch, I could. I gave them all a review that was optional, which, should I have made it optional? I should have made it. No, see, because here's the thing. If I made it for a grade, then that would just hurt the kids that didn't do it, or they would just copy off of each other, and thus defeating the purpose of having a review. So I did not make it for a grade. I made it optional. I'm offering them extra credit. So anyone who did it, I would like to go over it with them today. But I'm not going to go over it for the people that didn't do it, because no. The kids who didn't do it are going to be working on finishing their brain dump. If they finish that, they can work on a book it, or they can play book it. I have very very low expectations for this test simply because it covers a lot. It is the first time that they're being tested on the material that we taught last unit, which was before Christmas break. And like the two units that are being tested don't even go together. Like they're not cohesive. So I don't know why they did it like this, and I'm frustrated about it. Like it would make so much more sense to test quadratics and factoring together as opposed to exponents and quadratics. And then we're moving on to factor. We'll see how this test an I mean, I looked at it and realistically, it's easy. It's so easy. There are a few questions that are hard. Like if I had an average student, okay, as in someone who is on grade level, do I have many of those? No. For those students, this test should be easy. These kids, they could pass it if they tried. They could pass it. Because passing it is just getting approaches. Basically, if you get a 36, that's passing. Anyway, we're not gonna on that. Okay, I was getting dressed this morning. Cute, whatever, a little. And my husband was like, you wear that outfit every week. Mind your business. It's cute, it's warm, and I couldn't care less, okay? I am a proud outfit repeater. I don't even care. But yeah, y'all have probably seen, if you've been watching my videos, I wear this shirt and I have a blue one exactly like it. I've been wearing them like every other day because they're just such good like classics. They're staples. Just one color. They're warm. They're comfortable. They go with everything. It's 5 o'clock. I've had tutorials today because we're testing tomorrow and only one person came and he wasn't even doing test prep. He was making up a quiz. So today was annoying. It really frustrated me just because they just don't care. They're not taking it seriously. They don't care. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Wednesday, we got our rotation schedule. I'm actually not part of the rotations. However, I will be proctoring an English 2 field test, and it only has like 13 questions on it, but we have to keep them all day long. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I am so tired, like unbelievably tired. But today we are testing, so I don't really have to do anything today. So I already set my room up to be in rows. And honestly, I think that I might just like keep them in rows for the time being because I don't know. I just feel like it. Okay, so right now I'm just finishing up the seating charts that I made. I already finished them, but I did have one student tell me that he wanted to sit right next to me so he could focus. Making seating charts is so annoying because I have to balance like where a student needs to be versus where they want to be, because some of these kids, if they're sitting somewhere and they're not happy with their seat, they just won't do any work. So I'm like, obviously that's their decision to not do anything. Let's do my daily brain game. Obtain the given result by adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing the numbers below. Use some or all of the numbers in operations, but numbers may be used only once. Let's see what I can come up with. Okay, so if I do 50 times 4, that would give me 200. And then if I subtract 10 minus 7, 10 minus 7 is 3. So if I do 50 times 4, 200 minus 10 minus 7, 3 would give me 197. I wonder if there's another way. I'm not seeing another way to do it. Okay. So kind of the same thing that I did. So instead of doing 50 times 4 minus 10 minus 7, they did 50 times 4 plus 7 minus 10. Same thing. Yay. Gosh, I'm so tired. I'm gonna fall asleep while these kids are taking their tests. Surprise! Good morning, happy Wednesday. I feel like I did not check in very well with you guys. Yesterday, I don't even remember what happened yesterday. Oh, we took our test yesterday. The kids did so much better than I expected them to. Like, I genuinely have a bell curve in terms of grades, which normally I don't. Normally it's either like I have the same amount fail as pass, but this time it was like I had a few, I think maybe 5 students fail, and then I had like 8 students get masters, and then everyone else was like in the middle. So very pleased with them there. Today we are testing sophomores. So I'm not even going to be in my room today. I'm going to very quick eat my yogurt for breakfast and then go pick up all my testing materials and go to my testing room and get set up in there. So I probably won't check in very much today just because, I can't. But before I do, let's do our daily brain games. Fill in the numbers. Complete each equation using the numbers below. Each number can only be used once, and there may be several correct solutions. Okay, finally. I was only able to figure out one, because I'm just going to wrap it up. 45 times 14 is 630, divided by 10 is 63. That's how much work I did, just in case you were curious. Let's see. Yes, and that's the only answer that they came up with, so I'm glad I didn't keep trying to bang my head against a wall. Okay, it is 4 o'clock. I'm going home. I have nothing to do. So testing went fine today. My room finished at 10:23. We started at 9:30 something. Finished at 10:20. So it did not even take an hour for these kids to take the test. Some of them took under 5 minutes. But the majority of them, they were actually trying, which it doesn't matter. They're not my kids. And then as soon as we were done, they all just got in their Chromebooks and watched YouTube or did whatever it is that they were doing. And I did a lot of work on like Canva, on making new foldables. I did some organizing, made my slides, and I went ahead and made keys for the upcoming lessons. And I read Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which is the second book in the House of the Cerulean Sea series. I don't know if it's just a duology or what, but it's the second book and it's so cute. And I just want to visit. Today was unbelievably easy. I'm thankful for that. Starting a new unit tomorrow. I'm really not that scared. I think they're going to do well on this unit. It's factoring. Really, just depending how they do, I feel like tomorrow's lesson is going to determine whether or not they're going to get this unit, because tomorrow is greatest common factor, and if they can't do that, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle a lot this unit. However, I have faith in them. I think it'll be fine. Good morning. Happy Thursday. I am so tired and so sore. So I don't think I really talked about it much. But this year, 2026, has been the most consistent I've been with working out in years. I have been working out, I would say at least 4 times a week. So I have been cycling, doing strength workouts, doing stretching, all of that stuff very consistently for the past month. And I thought I would be over the tiredness and the soreness by now because it's February 5th. But I'm not. It was so hard to wake up this morning because so sore. So we're starting Unit 7, which is factoring. So exciting. I'm actually, okay, that was sarcastic, but like I actually am very excited about factoring. Like this is one of my favorite parts of algebra. Like I said, like quadratics, factoring, all of this stuff is what I love, okay? So we're starting a factoring unit, very excited to teach it. And I really do, I think I was saying this yesterday, I think they're gonna do well with this unit. But today we're doing greatest common factor, which these kids struggle to multiply and divide, so that's gonna be a little interesting. But practice, we're just gonna practice. And then tomorrow we're doing difference of squares. This is my daily brain game. Word search. Which word from the list below cannot be found vertically, horizontally, or diagonally in the grid? Let's see. Done. So the answer is rooted. Yes. Okay. It is 4:18. I realize I've not been checking in with you guys at the start of my conference like I normally do, or it did my conference at all. That is just because I am either so busy that I just don't even think about it, or I am with my teacher bestie and we're planning or talking or something. Today it was a little bit of both. I was very busy, and then about halfway through I needed to go talk to her to plan out something. So that's what that is. We are into Unit 7, taught greatest common factor today. And the ones that wanted to understand it, understood it. Everyone else, I can't make it any easier. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it just makes me want to cry because I'm like, I literally have dumped this down as much as possible into like the babiest of baby steps, and you're still confused. I don't remember where I left off. I was literally just talking, and I know that. But I had to stop and make a phone call because I remembered that I needed to call a parent, and if I didn't do it immediately, I'd forget again. So I just called that parent. But I want to say I was talking about how I just can't make it any easier for these students. And it's true. I mean, it's really shocking. Just anytime that I talk to people around my age or older than me, and I'm like, was it like this for you in school? Like, did you act like this? And the answer is always a resounding no. Like, it's crazy to me because when I think back to school, granted, I was a goody two-shoes, like I wanted to be teacher's pet, all that stuff. But when I think about like the bad kids from when I was in high school and middle school, it was always that like they were doing bad things like outside of school or like not during class. Like the worst thing that they would do would be to talk when they weren't supposed to be talking. But even then, not that much. And it was just like, I don't know, I'm not saying that they weren't bad when I was in high school, because obviously they were, but like, it's to the point where like I cannot have a quiet classroom. Like I remember having different assignments and being like the teacher was like, okay, you have to work on this by yourself. I'm giving you 10 minutes. And guess what? The class was pretty much quiet for 10 minutes while everyone was working. Now, some people were sleeping. Some people weren't doing it. You know, whatever. People were cheating. Whatever. You know, kids are kids. But I can't do that. If I tried to say, okay, now everyone work independently, the second that I've told them to start, they're having social conversations. And it's like that across the board. And it's like I can choose, okay? I only have a limited amount of energy. I can choose between making sure that they're quiet and following instructions, or I can help people who need help. Which one do I prioritize? Some days I'm over it and I'm prioritizing, you're going to do what I tell you to do. And I get a little authoritarian. And those are the days that, like, I know some kids aren't learning because they genuinely need help, but I am having to spend all of my energy managing behavior and telling people to stop talking and telling people to get back in their seats. And the second that I start helping the people that need help, well, they're doing things they're not supposed to be doing again, so I have to get onto them again. You see? And then there are days like today where I just couldn't care less and decided, okay, if y'all are gonna be so rude and disrespectful to me as a teacher, I'm not gonna stop you anymore. Like today, I say anymore. I meant today. So I just came and sat at my desk, and students that needed help came to my desk and got help, and everyone else either did it or they didn't. And today I told them it wasn't for a grade. I said, this is not for a grade, but this skill is vital to the rest of the unit. So if you don't do this practice, you're gonna have a really hard time. Tell me why people were still trying to copy. For what? Like, it's not a grade. I don't care whether your paper is filled in or blank. If you're just copying, you're just wasting your own time because you're not going to look back at that. You're not understanding what you're writing down. Literally doesn't matter. But then some of them, the ones that tried, got it, and they were fine. And, you know, second period is my guinea pig because they're the first class that I see of the day. So I can always kind of figure out what I need to change about my lesson after teaching it to them. And today there was a pretty big gap that I had between the lesson and the work. The work was, I don't want to say significantly, but the work was a fair amount harder than the lesson was, than any of the examples we saw in the lesson. So I clocked that and did my best to help second period through it. And then for third and fourth, I was able to, ahead of time, do more examples with them that more closely aligned the challenging level of the worksheet. And it was pretty successful. And I looked at my test scores from Tuesday. I am almost all tested out. I have a few students that still need to take it, but they've been absent for the past 2 weeks, so whatever. But my test scores are pretty good. I'm very pleased with them. All of my scores, or my average score across all my classes, is higher than both the campus and district average. Good morning. Happy Friday.
It's Friday, Friday.
So today, I'm tired. I am so tired. Y'all, I'm addicted to this yogurt now. It's the coconut yogurt by Ratio. It's so freaking good. So today is difference of squares. Yesterday was whatever. I just get discouraged every once in a while. Let's do this. Okay, connect the shapes. Draw lines connecting the shapes in the grid below. All boxes must be used, but only once. I should get through this pretty quickly. Let's see. Done. That one was probably the most challenging so far, and even then it wasn't hard. I don't know what it is about students, but these kids, they'll just leave stuff in my room. They'll ask me, they'll be like, hey, can I leave this in here and come get it at the end of the day? And I'm like, sure, whatever, I don't care. But I have a jacket, I think it's a jacket, that's been shoved under my desk since last week. The beginning of this week, I don't know. But at this point, I forgot who asked to keep it there. I have an idea. It's one of two students, but I don't remember which one. And honestly, they probably haven't missed it, you know? But sometimes they'll leave their shoes under my desk. Some of them will leave their Chromebooks in here to charge. And I really don't mind. Like, I like being someone where they're like, okay, I can ask her and she'll probably say yes. What does that say about me? I don't know. I'm not going to read into it. But our panorama surveys are coming up, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically where the students rate the teachers. Why that's a thing, I don't know. It is a thing, and it is an important thing because our panorama surveys are used in a component for TIA, which is our bonus money. So if you get a low rating, you don't qualify for as much money, or sometimes any money. So I've already kind of talked to the students about it and just like kind of explained, because a lot of them genuinely don't know that it's important. And so I was like, yeah, y'all realize that like this survey, it kind of is a factor in how much money we get, like how much we get paid. So please, like take it seriously, because sometimes they'll be rating the class instead of the teacher, like they don't realize what they're supposed to be doing. And I teach math. So one of the questions is like, I think about this subject when I'm not in class or something. I'm sorry, who's thinking about math outside of math and like is excited about it? So this year they are going to be surveying the freshmen in their Algebra 1 classes because we're the only class that's double blocked, so it just makes the most sense. So that means I'm going to be giving the panorama, which means I will not be coaching them, but I will be able to explain. And the questions are honestly, like, they're purposefully confusing. Like, they're written in weird ways. It's just kind of annoying. But each student only gets to rate two of their teachers. It's like random. So I have students that are going to be in my class rating me, and then some of them are going to be rating their other teachers. So kind of weird, but I don't really care. I've gotten really good panorama scores the past 2 years, and I say really good for being math. Like, math is one of the subjects that you generally see pretty low panorama scores because it's math and the students don't really like it. But shockingly, I've gotten really high surveys, which I'm like, that does make me feel pretty good. The students, and it's not just they like me, it's like they're supposed to be rating my teaching, so like I can go through and see the results for each question. And I did like my first year just because I was curious what they were being asked. And it was like, I feel like my teacher genuinely cares about how I'm doing every day. Or my teacher is good at explaining things to make sure that I'm not confused. Or my teacher makes sure that to challenge me every day. Like, they're just a bunch of crazy questions. But reading and seeing the answers is actually a really good reflection. So, like, I'm glad that we do it. I just have my concerns with it being included in the TIA as a factor. Granted, as I said, I've gotten high scores, so it hasn't affected me at all. But there are several really good teachers that have qualified for TIA on everything except their panorama. And I'm like, you're really trusting these 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds to accurately judge how good of a teacher you are when they don't know half of what goes into teaching?